Welcome to the first episode of Real Talks, where we talk all things life, spiritual, wellness. In today's episode and topic is, should I get her pregnant? Now, I know a lot of y'all may look at that and feel like, what the fuck is he talking about? Should I get her pregnant? Well, I came to this stop today. I said to myself, if I was in a relationship right now, and I was with somebody that I cared about and loved and felt like this was my one. And we are at a point where we are thinking about being a family. And she hits me with I want to get pregnant. I want to start having kids with you. Naturally, instinctively, if you want to have kids with somebody, you biologically, you're not going to fight that urge to want to do that. But when I think to myself, in today's age, is it worth it? Is it even worth having kids anymore? Because it seems like every relationship never lasts. Every relationship for most young people is based upon just sexual desire. We all know that. And a lot of times these young people, they have kids at a young age and they end up in these situations where now the spark is gone. Once the child is there and here, what they felt was going to be a family dynamic is now a co-parenting situation. And you see a lot of this more, especially in this generation. So I asked myself, I don't want to be in that rat race of being a co-parent to somebody just to support my child that I had with them in the hopes of wanting to build a family. So I asked myself, is it even worth having kids in today's age? Knowing that the odds of you guys not being together is at a high chance of happening. And being a co-parent is going to be more likely the long-term dynamic of that relationship. Is that a risk I'm willing to take? Because I do want children. I love kids. I want to have kids of my own. But I just don't want to lay down with the wrong woman and get the wrong woman pregnant and feel devastated that now I'm in this situation where I'm co-parenting with a woman that I thought I was going to be with forever. And just to to find out that we're not compatible like we thought we were. And we were just in a state of lust, in a state of love, in a state of just thinking that this was going to be a real thing forever. And it doesn't end up like that. So now we're in a situation now where you got a baby mama, baby daddy dynamic. You got a child in between. You guys are co-parenting. You're dealing with drama. You're dealing with the emotions of maybe wanting to get back with your baby mama or the baby daddy. You got people that she's dealing with outside of you guys' dynamic, who she's dating, and now you're jealous of who she's messing with. Now you're messing with some people outside of y'all's dynamic. Now she's jealous of who you're messing with. Or you guys are just okay with it. Maybe you guys have an understanding of, hey, we're not together. You can do what you want to do. As long as my child is healthy and safe and taken care of, we good. But you just don't know what side of the quarter is going to flip on. And that's what I'm saying. The risk of having a child with somebody nowadays. I think it's a very, very hard decision to make because at some point you're gonna want to have that conversation with somebody that you love and care about, that you've been with, that you've been rocking with. You guys want to make children together. You guys want to be a family at some point. But it just feels like if I'm scared of that result of it not working out, am I logical for saying I don't want to have kids? Or am I being negative and already putting the relationship already in a bad I guess, energy by already thinking it's not going to work. It's something that I think about a lot because I do see the future being very interesting, to say the least, especially with how things are nowadays with a lot of relationships. You know, I do believe that as a man, it's in you to want to be a father, a provider, a man, a leader, right? It's in a woman to want to be feminine, to want to be nurturing, to want to have kids, to want to be the caregiver to the children as the man is out there hunting, aka chasing that bag in the real world. At a biological primal level, that is the dynamic of a man and a woman. But nowadays it's so blurred. You got some guys acting like women, you got some women acting like men. So that dynamic from the start is already kind of blurred. And then when you put children in the mix, now all these flaws that you guys have in y'all's relationship is now being magnified. And you just end up in these situations. You hear about it all the time. All this extra drama, all this extra BS, just because you guys didn't work out. And the reason why, it could be a multitude of things. But it just never seems like that family dynamic of a man and a woman and the children is intact anymore. Nowadays, it's more so of a co-parenting situation. A lot of people that I know that are my age that have kids, but they're not with their baby mother. He has a new girlfriend, she has a new boyfriend, but they share a child or two together. And I never can see myself in that situation. I would want to be with who I had a child with, you know? But it's just nowadays, you kind of have to accept the fact that you probably will likely be co-parenting. And that's what I'm trying to gauge this conversation with. Is it worth that risk nowadays? Is it worth it? Or am I willing to co-parent? That's pretty much what I'm coming to. Am I willing to co-parent with a woman to raise my child or my children in the near future? Because the old-fashioned family dynamic has been destroyed, especially in the black community. In the black community, that's been destroyed. That is something that has been long gone for a long time. You have, it's sprinkled in there. You got some families that have that dynamic, but the majority, we're all broken up, you know? And there's other races too that deal with that. But it's just, I just don't want to be in that rat race. And that's my biggest fear, is just getting with the wrong woman. And not necessarily the wrong woman, because, you never really can tell who's right for you or who's wrong for you until time progresses and you guys have a child. Usually when you have a child, that's when you really find out who you've had a child with. That's what I've been told, at least. And that's what I be thinking. It's like, to get to that point just to see who you've been really messing with is kind of like, wow, I had to really end up in this situation now where we have a child now. And now I realize that this person is somebody that I regret having a child with, but it's too late now. So now we have to go down this traditional way of raising our child, which is co-parenting, and being in this loophole all our life of just bickering back and forth, worrying about who's doing what to who, child feeling like this about this parent and that parent. It's just a lot of things that come with that co-parenting shit. And I just don't want my kids to have to deal with that or go through it. So, I don't know. This is something that I think about, I wouldn't be opposed to not having children, but it would go against my biological urge that I naturally have as a man. I just can't see myself creating success for myself and being able to provide for myself and my potential family and just not want to take that leap of wanting to create my own set of children. I just feel like that halts the generation that I can produce, and possibly halt my drive and motivation to keep growing and keep building. Because now I don't have really anything left to use as fuel to get up every single day and go get that bag, versus just patenting what I already have, versus having children that's looking at me to go and bring that bacon home, and they're looking at me as a role model. They're looking at me as somebody that they want to be like. That's a lot of motivation for a man, at least, to know that you got little ones that are looking at you as their hero. And I do want that. I want that in the near future, you know? But right now I just feel like the world is such a different place than it used to be. And I think the dynamic of a relationship with a man and a woman is so skewed and blurred. Is it even worth having children anymore? You know? Birthing kids into this kind of environment, you know, it's just creating a cycle of them probably going through the exact same thing if they ever grow up and meet somebody of their own and have kids. So it's something that I think about. Is it worth having kids in this generation? Or is it better to just be single? Or just to not have kids at all? And let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Peace.